Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm thinking about doing a new series where I talk about my favorite fragrance from each brand. So we're gonna start off with YSL, and my favorite scent from them is La Nuit de l'Homme. Now I'm specifically talking about their standard designer scents because their private blend fragrances are harder to get your hands on, right? But the reason I wanted to start with YSL is because La Nuit de l'Homme was my first love, so it's just perfectly fitting that it would be the first brand that I talked about. Now, what does this smell like? La Nuit de l'Homme is honestly just like this sexy cardamom fragrance. It's this supposed nighttime, date night sort of scent, but for me, I've worn it when it was like 70 degrees outside and it never got too sweet for me because I live in an area that is usually warm throughout the whole entire year. So I have to kind of experiment with these sweeter scents to see how they do in warmer weather. And this one was perfect. In fact, the times that I wore this in the summer, I got a lot of compliments with this fragrance. So I don't think it's as strict of a nighttime scent and a special occasion scent as people make it out to be. Now, of course, if you want to save this for those moments, you absolutely can. But again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with smelling sexy all the time. If you become known as the sexiest smelling person, what is the downside to that? Unless you don't want that type of attention. Now, La Nuit de l'Homme is marketed as a more masculine fragrance, and I was really interested in this one because when I was watching and reading some reviews on this fragrance, I was like, do I want to try a masculine scent? I wonder how that's going to turn out. And I actually blind bought this fragrance. And the first time I smelled it, I remember I was with my sister and we sprayed it in the air and both of our eyes just went wide. She literally said, she's like, oh my God, I'm salivating. That is super sexy. And I just had the same exact reaction and thought in my head too. I was like, I've never smelled a fragrance like this before. And this is the scent that catapulted my fragrance journey. This is the fragrance. This is the reason why I started making fragrance videos, because I was like, I used to wear things like Cool Water by David Off when I was like 13. That was the first fragrance that I was gifted. And then in high school, I was rocking that Beyonce Heat. I'm not sure if you guys remember that fragrance. It smelled so good, but it lasted like 20 minutes. And so when I got interested in wanting to smell good, and then I tried on La Nuit de l'Homme, and then I wore it pretty much everywhere. And the reactions I was getting, I never thought I would get when it came to fragrances. I was like, okay, if I wear a scent, I'm gonna smell good, I'm gonna like it. It's simple as that, right? But no, I was getting so many nose to the neck reactions. I was getting, oh my God, you smell so sexy. And it was just crazy seeing how many people were going feral over my fragrance on me. And I was just like, holy shit. It just opened up a new perspective that fragrances can take people to that level. So that's the reason why I was like, you know what? Let me try other fragrances and see what type of scents can draw this reaction, not only from me, but from other people. You know what I mean? So this one got so much love from the ladies. And even when I wear it till this day, I still love it. This is not a scent that has completely fallen off for me. Sure, I don't use it as often as I once did before, but to me, you know what, I might just wear this as my scent of the day. I'm gonna do that because I miss it. Hold on. We're gonna do 5. Keep it intimate with the scent bubble on this one, but oh man, every single time I wear this, I'm reminded why it smelled so good. It's not something that when I re-smell it again after months, I say, oh yeah, I don't like that anymore, like my taste has changed. No, this is definitely like a Hall of Fame type of fragrance for me, and it has a very special place in my heart because it was the very first one. And the fact that I blind bought it, and I blind bought it at the same time that I got Versace Eros, because I was hearing so much about Versace Eros online. Like, let me see what this is about. And in fact, I got them at the same time, or I bought them at the same time online, but Versace Eros came in maybe a few days earlier. I smelled it and I liked the way that it smelled, but it didn't smell like me, so I would wear it. I did get compliments on it, but it's just like, I didn't think it suited me the best, right? So when Le Nuit de l'Homme came in, I was like, oh shit, this is my fragrance. And ever since then, when I wore, like, this is just something I wore day in, day out. I wore it in the springtime. Winter time was when I got it. I wore it in the spring, wore it in the summer, wore it in the fall. This was something I just wore year round, and it smells so delicious till this day. Now, the downside with Le Nuit de l'Homme is the fact that the performance isn't known to be the best. This is, like I said in the beginning, an intimate type of fragrance. It easily becomes a skin scent. So I know if you saw me do those 5 sprays just less than a minute ago, you might think, oh, you're gonna drown people out with that. That's way too many, blah, 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 blah. I could tell that you might be a novice with fragrances, because with this scent, 5 sprays can fall off maybe in the next 3 to 4 hours or so. Even less than that, to be honest. There's people that can hardly smell this after 30 minutes. I think a majority of that, though, is just going nose blind to the scent. But I will also recognize that the performance on this pretty much sucks. So what I do is I overspray it. If I want this to project like a regular fragrance, I will overspray this fragrance. I will do 15 sprays of it. And when I made my last video on that, somebody's like, 15 sprays? That's way too little. You got to do 20 plus. And I totally get where you're coming from. So when I wore this on my night out, I did 17 sprays, and I got non-stop compliments. It didn't choke me out. It didn't choke people out. And I know, like I said, there's that stigma of, oh, that's way too many sprays. You're going to be swimming in it. You're going to be bathing in it. That's so wrong, especially when it comes to this fragrance. And if you know, then you know. Now, another question I'll get about Le Nuit de l'Homme is the flanker, Blue Electric. They're like, oh, I hear that Blue Electric is better, and I've made a comparison video between the two of them. You can watch that if you want to, just for a more in-depth sort of reasoning, but this is so much better than Blue Electric to me. I think Blue Electric tries to also go the casual wearable direction, and it tries to balance both being sexy and being worn casually. And for me, it's like, no, just go straight with one or the other. You know what I mean? Go all in with one or the other. And Le Nuit de l'Homme just goes all in the sexy direction. So I just like it better at that, because it's not trying to wear too many hats. You know, it specializes in one thing. We all know what that is. This is the scent that you spray on your sheets before you go on a date, just in case, you know what I mean? And I've done that. And when I come back to my bed, it smells so good. And I've done that when my girlfriend was here too, and she just loved the way that it smelled as well. So it's just a very intoxicating, alluring fragrance that really is sex in a bottle. I know you hear people talk about that all the time, and I'm vouching for it a year later, because I talked about this scent nonstop on all my platforms around like January 2021. I was just talking about this nonstop. So if you're somebody that wants to see if it can hold true a couple of years later or a year later, I'm telling you that it does. Now, I think, the other question, this will be the last point that I touch on, is, I should probably go hunt down vintage versions of this fragrance because I want performance to be the best. And if you want to go to try and find a vintage bottle of it, go ahead. For me, I don't really care for looking at that stuff. I know people are like, oh, you got to find the 2008 version and blah, 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 and it's going to be priced high. Just keep it simple, get it, and then overspray it. Now, I'll leave a link for it or a link for a discount site that's for global shipping in the description box in case you want to try to get this at a discounted rate. So that's going to be in the description box. But yeah, I myself don't really care about going through the hassle of searching for a vintage bottle and trying to negotiate and all that sort of stuff, because I know if you overspray this fragrance, you'll get a decent projection and you'll be fine. You just have to get it past your head mentally that doing 15 sprays of this scent is pretty much nothing, you know? So favorite scent from YSL, Le Nuit de l'Homme. Let me know what brand you want me to try next. And the thing is, this house is the one that I probably recommend the most for anybody starting with fragrances, because you've got, some masculine scents like Le Nuit de l'Homme, you got unisex like L'Homme, you've got the feminine ones like Black Opium, Libre. It just has so many bangers, and you can try them all at Sephora, Macy's, Ulta for free. You don't have to pay for samples, anything like that. But if you are just looking to get started into fragrances and you want something that is going to be sexy, that is what YSL specializes in. And I'm specifically talking about their standard designer scents, all right? Again, a discount site link for this fragrance will be in the description below, so you can just go compare prices if you want. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite scent from this brand is, specifically the standard designer, all right? I'm not talking private blend, standard designer. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.